Unpopular opinion. I don't particularly care for flow-through suppressor designs. And here's the thing. Whenever you have a new technology that expands into an existing market, you're going to have some elements of the quote-unquote old guard, which I suppose I got enough gray in my beard now to qualify as, that are just going to go, grumble, grumble, old man yelling at a cloud type thing. And I think for sure there's some of that in what I'm going to do today. But in my opinion, the proliferation of flow-through suppressor designs is a net negative for the market. They are, in my opinion, a hot term that is being used to market inferior designs for more money. To understand if that is the case and if it applies to your prospective purchasing proposition, that alliteration really didn't work, but to understand whether a can that used that concept of construction fits for you, you either have to do one, spend your money, figure it out, and if you're wrong, then sorry about you, or two, understand the context in which that technology emerged, what it is used for specifically, and if that aligns with your use case. And it is my contention that the vast majority of folks that are purchasing suppressors on the commercial market, it does not. And I will explain that after we hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by FatTac. FatTac is currently my one-stop shop for any holster that I need done. These were originally designed to accommodate bigger folks. It's literally in the name. However, the principles of extreme adjustability and customization in a holster seems like a pretty good idea across the board. Optics ready, open or closed front, magazine release access, a crisp lockup, multiple attachment methods, fully ambidextrous. I don't know how else to say it other than I really like it when folks who made their name in testing other companies' gear strike out on their own, because usually that results in a superior product. I have a discount code listed for FatTac in all the relevant places. Use that to great effect and let them know that I sent you. I am not in the business of manufacturing suppressors. I have no financial incentive whatsoever to disseminate this information to you, except for the same inspiration that I've always had to make videos on this channel, which is to gain experience on something, bring that experience back, report it to you so you can make a more informed buying decision when you're spending your hard-earned money on something, if your inspiration for spending money on that thing is anywhere close to what mine is. So what I'm seeing in the market, and this has been going on for a while, but I think it's gotten way worse now that the $200 component of the unconstitutional NFA process has fallen off, at least for the time being. That there's this proliferation of suppressor designs, which I think is a positive thing for the market, but the proliferation of flow-through suppressor designs, I think, is a net negative. As someone who's been working with suppressors for over a decade now and have watched the technology change and implement over that time, I think there's really two major verticals that you can put rifle-rated cans in. There's the max suppression design and the flow-through design. And I'm willing to separate out a third vertical for the K cans, but I'll flesh that out here in a second. Max suppression design. You might also refer to this as a traditional suppressor design. This is for the purposes of capturing gas. Expanding gases coming out of the end of your muzzle. We want to sequester those gases, slow them down, cool them down, and release them slowly. The benefits of this are maximum sound signature suppression and misdirection, flash suppression, and recoil reduction. Those are the three big ones. Now, in most cases, you also get increased accuracy and precision, but that's not always the case. Depends on how the thing is designed. By and large, though, you can, for the most part, count on that. The K cans, as I mentioned, shitty version of the max suppression design, but it is done for a very specific purpose. And that is, we don't want a 10 or 12 inch suppressor on the end of our gun for whatever reason. We need mobility, pointability, whatever. We want it, all those things, but we're willing to accept less of it for a 4 or 5 inch suppressor or 6 inch suppressor over a 10 or 12 or 15 inch suppressor. Think things like communication between people as they're shooting, being able to shoot next to somebody and not completely have the break completely blow out their field of view or their night vision. So the K-Can can be considered basically a really glorified muzzle brake that has none of the downsides of a muzzle brake. Okay. And then the flow-through design. The major considerations for flow-through designs are gas regulation in your weapon. And to flesh that out a little bit, I'm going to go to Silencer Central, which, you know what, I don't have any affiliation with Silencer Central. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they don't like me very much. And I'm just going to give you their definition of what a flow-through suppressor is. A flow-through suppressor is a type of firearm suppressor that, rather than fully trapping expanding gases within the suppressor body, is designed to control, redirect, and manage gas flow through a structured internal pathway. By contrast, traditional suppressors focus primarily on containing gas in order to reduce sound. In comparison, flow-through suppressors prioritize efficient gas movement, allowing pressure to vent forward while still slowing, cooling, and dispersing the gases before they exit the muzzle. As a result, this design approach helps balance effective sound suppression with improved firearm function. You saw on screen their words, not mine. But if we were to translate that to regular person speak from marketing person words, then you would say it something like, these cans are louder than you're going to expect them to be. And we have made the decision to make those devices louder because we don't really care about the overall sound signature. We are more concerned about the operation of the firearm. Somewhere along the way, we decided that the industry as a whole is done with trying to figure out how to adjust guns and get them to run with suppressors. Now, if we think back to the context of this, in which this technology emerged, I think that it's pretty easy to figure out how that happened. There's a company that's going to remain unnamed that came up with this design, and they sold it to the military. And they basically, super paraphrase, you can attach the thing to the end of the gun and it doesn't change the operational characteristics of the firearm. And the military is like, we don't have to tinker around with all these things. We can basically screw this thing on, screw this thing off, hand it to a 17-year-old and they can't fuck it up. Sold. Shut up. Take my taxpayers' money, put it in the box and ship it. I would argue that most of you are not that. I would guess that the majority of you watching this video and the vast majority of consumers of suppressors are doing so in the commercial market. And if you're doing so in the commercial market, two things. You care about those big three that I discussed earlier. I want it as quiet as possible, I want it to flash less, and I want it to recoil less. And you're less concerned about the whole, will the gun operate? Because you work in the commercial market. You are doing all this stuff as a hobbyist or an enjoyer of this thing. You might work here. But by and large, you are not concerned about the operation of your weapon at full cyclic rate. And if you're firing your semi-automatic AR-15, you have the option of going over there and getting an adjustable gas block and turning it down 2 clicks so that it doesn't gas you in the face as much. Now, if it sounds like I'm getting a little bit hacked off, it's because I am. And because this marketing hocus pocus that is ripping itself through the suppressor space right now is going to ultimately result in poorer outcomes for the end consumer. My whole thing is, what is reality and where does the marketing pick up? And I'm here to tell you that the vast majority of everything when it comes to flow-through suppressors is marketing, because they made a thing for a specific niche market, which was that military application, and they say, hey, you know what? I bet you we can make a fuck ton of money by selling it to a whole bunch of dupes that don't know any better. And it's not like the DB data is just attainable by yourself. I don't know about you, but I don't have an extra $35,000 laying around for a DB meter to be able to measure that shit, okay? And I work here. I'm going to tell you that overall, the performance, as far as sound signature is concerned, definitively is lacking when it comes to those flow-through suppressors. They're not going to be as good. Now, one caveat. If you live and die behind a gas-operated, fully automatic weapon, and your major concern is being able to see so that after you just rip through 30 or so rounds out of your weapon, you can see the next Admirable Akbar that's rushing your position, then it's probably the thing for you. But when we're talking about the commercial market, if you're trying to do something like a suppressed long stroke non-adjustable piston, think like AK or something like that. Yeah, flow-through suppressor is probably going to be better for you because the options for adjusting that thing, while they exist, are considerably more onerous than, oh, I've got my Allen wrenches and stuff and you know, maybe a torque wrench or something like that. I'm going to go down to the shop and I'm going to take the old gas block off and I'm going to put this new flashy, expensive, new adjustable gas block on there, and this thing will run fine. That's not really an option when it comes to some of those other guns. So there are reasons for that thing, but in my opinion, the use case is considerably narrower than the market would have you believe, and I feel like a whole bunch of people are getting turned over a barrel, and I don't think it's fair. So I don't know, this is an unpopular opinion, but I want to make sure that as many people as I can possibly reach don't fall in the hole on that one. Thanks for watching.